The DigiPodcast, digital trends in supply chain management.
Hello and welcome to our DigiPodcast. I'm Thomas Holzner from Siemens SCM Digi Network with the DigiPodcast, a podcast on digital and innovative topics for procurement in the future. Today we are in a special situation. This is a special DigiPodcast, and why? Because we are sitting in a factory in Berlin. Yes, Berlin. And it's mobility, rail infrastructure. When I look outside of the window, a lot of stuff you are needing now, especially in the flooded areas, because the signals, the masts and other stuff are produced here and in Braunschweig and somewhere else. I have the pleasure to sit together with Guido Rumpel. He is the factory manager of this factory network, and together with Philipp. Philipp is a category manager, so he's the SCM part here. And he was the guy who gave me the hint that I should talk with Guido, because what Guido is doing here is something new for Siemens. Why new? We talk a lot about our key priorities, growth mindset and empower people. And I have to quote now Guido, because I think that's one of the best statements I heard in the last few months. To empower people, you have to give the power to the people. I'm personally convinced that it's the right approach, but I think some of our management colleagues have some digestion problems with this statement. On the other hand side, when I reflect with Philipp, I'm sitting here in a historical place with a factory that was not known for being flexible and innovative, and now it's running like hell. Same people, new management. So today I would like to explore what's new, what did Philipp and especially what did Guido change, and how was their journey, and how was SCM a part of the journey. Hello Guido, hello Philipp. Maybe Guido, you start and tell a little bit about where we're sitting and what you're doing.
Thanks Thomas for being here. It's quite a while ago we could invite guests here. So we are at a really historical place with a factory for rail infrastructure technology. And what we are doing is, in the end, bringing people from A to B with train technology. So here all the signals, the switches are constructed, designed, and of course produced to make all this possible. And what we are good in is really to provide our products to a very complex product and project world. So we have many projects and high variance and relatively low volume. That are the things we are good in, really providing high mix, low volume and long life cycle. For all this, you need the expertise of the people. So our business is people business.
People business. So Philipp.
Yeah, talking about people business. Thank you, Guido. I'm the one being empowered here. My job as a category manager is to secure the supply of the material on the shop floor, that everyone has the right material on hand to build those fantastic products we're seeing outside here. And if I'm really good at it, we are also producing at a compact price level.
It's an interesting statement from a strategic sourcing guy that's responsible for the availability. Normally, we talk more about prices. And that's already the core of this podcast, that Guido started here a huge transformation process. That's something I would like to reflect and share with you all. Guido, what triggered the change? And then maybe as a second question, what did you change?
If you want to drive change, the most important question is the why. And if you look to the why, we came from a very classic factory setup. So we had very strong hierarchies. We had a functional separation, so different functions for buying material, for strategic procurement, for quality, for manufacturing, of course, and so on. And all these have concurrent targets and different interests. So one of the major conflicts, especially in the procurement and factory area, is price versus availability. So Philipp, feels great to hear you talking about both on the same level. And if you come from this conquering situation and separate functions, for all problems you investigate, you always hear two sentences. First, I was told to do so, and the second one is, if the other functions would have done it right, our own function would be also okay. And so everyone is finger pointing at each other. And that was for us the point where we realized as a management team of the factory, we need to change this. We need to switch from this separated thinking, from the silo thinking, to a collaboration. And this was the simple idea, and that describes the why.
So this was a typical situation at the Siemens factory with the hierarchy. But the second part was not typical, because you mentioned not you said we had to change something. What exactly did you do to make this we happen?
Exactly. It was in the end to eliminate the I in the whole organization, to bring the people together. So what we really did is we smashed the silos and we created cross-functional teams. In our new setup today, we have so-called product groups, and there we have the procurement guy, the disposition guy, the buyer, the manufacturing guy, and the quality guy. They sit close to each other as one team, point one, and also physically sit together. The second thing is they have common targets. So yes, all have common targets working towards one goal, not having some very high-level targets they cannot identify with, but really tangible, measurable targets on their level. And the third thing is, if we put all these experts together working for one goal, why not letting them define what to do and define the measures? So also the switch, and we had it in the intro, from the management taking any decision towards the experts group who have a room to have their own decisions. That was a big change. So cross-functional teams, clear, tangible targets, and self-organization. That was the three main pillars of our change.
So Philipp, self-organization, is this something new for you? Because normally we hear that the strategic ivory tower is doing his self-organized things, and now you're sitting in the shop floor or on the shop floor. What about your change or the things that had changed for you?
Yes, Thomas, that's exactly right. So usually we are stuck in our strategic topics in our silo, and that is the major change we are currently looking at. So we tend to be very material-driven and data-driven. So we are looking at material numbers in a large scale, and then we're trying to control our material field in total. And this is what changed during that setup right now. So we are getting much closer to the end product, and we are now sitting in the groups with the operations colleagues together, like we're sitting here today. So our colleagues are just sitting 10 meters away. I'm sitting with them together at least 2 times a week if there is no COVID.
Guido, what Philipp said, quite impressive. You are the initiator, master of this whole show. So you turned an old factory with an old mindset in a new factory with a new mindset. What was then the typical external question, your biggest challenge?
You know, the people, as I described, we have many experts here. The people know what they are doing. If you give them the room to decide, they will use it well, and if you set the boundaries right. If we come back to your intro statements with the empowerment and give power to these people, it means that the role of the management changes dramatically. You convert from the guy that exactly says what to do and when to do, and the people follow, and you expect them to follow without questioning, towards a leader that gives, of course, a target. It's no laissez-faire. You give a target and set the frame, but give the people the freedom to decide on their own. And that means also for you as a manager to stand the fact that they maybe come up with measures you wouldn't have selected. But the interesting thing is, in most cases, these measures work out very, very, very well. The people know what they are doing. And the second thing is, we also could see old ideas coming from a manager and that didn't work out in the past. If the people set themselves these measures, it will work out because there's a completely different feeling for that's mine and I will drive it. So we have a complete different drive, and the only thing you have to do is in the end, to overcome a little bit yourself and change the role as a manager. And that is, for me personally, was my biggest challenge. It's always easy to say, we need to change something. But if you ask who wants to change, you will not see so many hands up. And so this is especially true for the management in this transformation.
When did you start this journey?
2 years before.
So 2 years. And now I think the success we can see outside, also looking at the, development of this unit, you can also measure it. And I think what's also quite impressive, the biggest challenge is to change him or herself. Not so easy. Regarding now Philipp, you, a strategic procurement guy, is data-driven. He works on his strategy. And now what are you doing now? No strategy anymore? You're sorting out material, or you take some paint and you help in the production to paint the masts?
Yeah, of course. So half of my time is spending on the shop floor painting the masts.
Job enrichment.
Yeah, job enrichment is part of job rotation. It's actually more like I'm now feeling more empowered by the bottom-up solution process. So we are enabled to now bring our own solutions as a team, but we are also asked to develop them on our own. And this might be one of the biggest challenges, not just for the managers, but also for the employees, because the employees were also quite used to get instructions. And this is something which also needs to change. And this is not something which just comes from the management. This is something which needs to be lifted up from bottom to top. And yeah, so we as strategic procurement, we are now part of the product group. So we are focusing on special products. We have the eye on the customer, on the problems, but we are trying to live the role more as a strategic sparring partner. So we're bringing in the strategic view into a group, building up solutions from bottom to top. And this is the kind of role we are trying to live up to. But of course, the problem or the main focus is also on the point that we can't be just dragged into 100% operational business. So we also bringing in the strategic view from our strategic work.
And maybe I'm allowed to add, and if you work together closely, all those typical target conflicts, they vanish. We are able to increase delivery, reliability and productivity by reducing stock levels at the same time. We can reduce our supplier costs and increase delivery reliability by, for example, building a second source. It's about collaboration, and many things are possible that seems to be unreachable before. So it's really a little bit of magic.
There was one buzzword within procurement, second source. What we noticed during COVID-19, procurement is always going for a second source, and a lot of engineering manufacturing units say, I don't need a second source. And this means you also working on second source strategies together in these product groups, Philipp?
Yeah, of course. We are always monitoring our products according to their risk status. So we are just looking at the different materials. We're looking at the suppliers. And if we identify a material which might be critical, we are checking if there is a second source available. And if not, we might also invest money to build up a second source so that we can secure our factory supply and in the end the deliveries to our end customers.
Maybe I can also add, if we wouldn't have done this in the last 2 years, we would be already messed up with the allocation topic today. For the steel area, for the mast, for the PCB area, we built up together so much second source and saved a lot of money, by the way, and this saved us today in the allocation setup we have.
Quite a strong statement nowadays. So this means we have now a new setup. I think it would be also interesting to talk with your new boss, Hendike Diers. She's the CPO of this business unit. And I think she also joined 2 years ago, roughly like you. So new minds, new setup, and maybe also one of the reasons that you have so much success. So we see now a change in the last 2 years with a quite impressive result. And now the typical consultant question, what comes next?
We are already on the way to the next level. We thought a few months before, if the collaboration and the empowerment worked so good on the operational level, why don't we put it to strategy as well? That's why a few months ago we introduced here the so-called objective and key results. That's a method normally used in the IT and startup Silicon Valley environment. But in the end, it's the streamlining of the whole organization towards a goal, but also not only discuss operational, but strategic levels. And that is what we're doing today. Every 3 months, we review our strategy with the whole team, with 200 people. And everyone is thinking about how I can contribute with my team towards a common goal. So we align all organizational actions towards one common strategy. And that makes it also so powerful. I have to say, today, I cannot imagine to do it the old management way, to set up a big program and then see how it runs. So it's so much more powerful not to do such programs with 10 people, but to utilize 200 people all going into the same direction. I can tell you this is will also in future be one of the cornerstones to develop further, because the team can also do strategy.
Interesting statement. Philipp, what about then your role in the future? What's next? If the team can do strategy, what you will do?
In the end, that the team is able to do strategy is also a part of my role of being the sparring partner within the team. So I'm bringing in the strategic topics. I'm discussing the strategic topics with the team. I'm proposing topics. And in the end, we come out with OKR sets.
OKR means objective key results, like Guido mentioned.
exactly the startup approach. This might be something we're coming up in the next stage, but objective key results are giving us the opportunity to bringing in strategic tasks broken down into certain action items we are tackling in a 3-month period. And that's what we are reviewing, and that's why we are part of it. This is the strategic part in the product group.
When I summarize now a little bit, you took something known with the product group, but not really implemented in one or the other factory. And then you took something from the startup scenery, like the objective and key results, the OKR. So you go from push to pull. It's amazing. And like Philipp said, he is now not more, from my point of view, a category manager is like a category coach. At the end of the day, I assume you still meet some suppliers and negotiate a little bit with the support of the team. But coming now to this negotiation, and say developing together. How did COVID-19 impact you in a negative way or in a positive way? And how do you challenge now the current allocation situation? Guido.
COVID, of course, hit us. Luckily, we had the chance in the beginning of the whole transformation to bring together the people so that they have a chance to really grow as a team for some weeks at least before first lockdown. But also COVID has shown that virtual collaboration can work out. So in the end, the team works well also during COVID. And I would say maybe with the product group approach, even better. Why? Because if you work towards a common goal as a team, and this is already set up so that you don't have so much conflict. I think virtual collaboration works out better than you would have without. And with the allocation, also here, last week we had our OKR cycle 4, and the product groups together with procurement, they defined measures for reviewing materials and define strategies, what to do if we have impact on 1 or 2 of the major materials, how to manage production and how to manage supplier. So they very actively screen the materials and define their own measures how to cope with it. And I think this worked out very well.
Philipp, when did you meet last time a supplier in person?
October last year, and it was part of like the starting allocation. So it was a real negotiation, but with all windows open and far distance.
This means you work here virtually in a factory environment and you still have an output ratio that's tremendous. So if you want to, as a management team or as a manager in a cross-functional team, you can improve performance, output, and quality and profit if you only work on the empowerment of people and the growth mindset. With this, I would say it could be also a showcase for the one or the other unit within Siemens. I'm coming to my favorite question, the last but not least. It's not only about the people who are talking with me, it's also about the person. But it's always up to you. What do you want to tell us? Who is Guido and who is Philipp? Well, let's start with Philipp.
I would describe myself as a team player because I have the chance to work together with people, and I'm really enjoying it, really enjoying the exchange of information. I'm enjoying it being part of product group and the process of developing solutions. And that is why I think I might be a good fit for this position at the moment. If I'm looking at my sports background, I would like to draw the picture in the soccer team where I consider myself as the team player by being the playmakers. We need to initiate actions by seeing opportunities, and this is something which is more on the strategic level, and that's why we are the strategic sparring partner in the procurement group, bringing in our experience in the product group of the operations business.
Okay, so we have here playmaker. And Guido, how would you describe yourself or share something about you?
Don't put me on the field. I'm not the goal setter. So to maybe complete the picture, for me it would be the coach with the whole management team. In the end, we ensure that our team, our soccer team, the stars on the field, our experts, they can do a great job. So we clarify the boundaries. We also set up the rules, of course, a little more than I coach, and also we train the people and coach them in order to make them collaborate in a great way. So that's why for the management, it's more the coach role in the setup. And this, in the very beginning of the transformation, we put also in a visualization. We draw a pyramid, the classical hierarchical pyramid, and we said to our teams, we need to invert it. So today, management is at the top, the employees are at the bottom, and we want you at the top because this is what's about. You know best what to do, make our business running. So we will give you exactly this empowerment. So, and today we are, I think, many steps ahead that this is really become a reality.
After now this podcast, I understand what you're saying. Again, thanks to you both. And now for the people who are listening to, thank you that you listened until now to this DigiPodcast. If you have questions about Philipp or Guido or mobility, you can write us an email or you can find out more on the SCM DigiNetwork internet page, siemens.com/DigiNetwork. I'm looking forward to having you as a listener at our next episode. Yours, Thomas Holzner from the Siemens SCM DigiNetwork. Goodbye.
The DigiPodcast, Digital Trends in Supply Chain Management.